I'm Jason.
I'm Andy.
And I'm Brian.
Oh, and we have a special guest today. I thought you were going to ask me. We have a special guest today, our friend Brian, another Brian. We're going to call him Mac, though. It's just easier that way.
It's not his last name or anything.
It's not. It has nothing to do with his last name.
No, it's almost, but no, right? Yeah.
And we're here to discuss Rocky 3.
Not 1, not 2, not 4, not 5, not Balboa, not Creed, not Creed 2. Did I get them all?
I guess on May 20. What day of those?
I think this is May 21st.
May 21st, 1982.
Oh, wait a second. This was May 28th.
28th, right. Yes.
At least because Mr. T's birthday is May 21st.
There you go.
Oh.
Spoiler. So on May 28th, 1982, Rocky 3 came out, and we brought our friend Mac. We're going to call him Mac so we don't have two Brians. He's a fan of the Rocky franchise, and he's a fan of ours.
He's also the eye of the tiger.
He has that eye. And we're going to talk Rocky 3. So what do you got for us, Jason?
Rocky 3, let's talk about it. You mentioned 1982, another release from 1982. Eye of the Tiger, I mentioned, was the big hit song of the, I guess, the summer, right? Because I think that's, I don't know exactly when that song was released.
I think it was released for this movie, right?
Yeah. I'm not sure if it came out before the movie.
It wasn't in the original Rockies?
No, there's Rocky 3.
It was written
for
this movie.
Yeah. That's how I remember getting into it.
Yeah, because Rocky 1 was it Getting Stronger? Or was that?
Yeah, it was the Bill Conti.
Right, he's running up the steps. This set the precedent, not just for Rocky movies, but like having that hit song in your movie. I think this movie did that. Like all of a sudden,
you had to have a
hit song in your movie.
The hit movie for the summer with a hit song.
Because then even Rocky 4 had another Survivor song, which I couldn't even tell you the name of it. It did not work.
I think they had a few hits.
I remember that too. Yeah. There was other Survivor hits, but I couldn't name them right now. Could you name one other Survivor hit?
With a Burning Heart.
Is that the Rocky 4 song?
I have no idea. I just know that Kathy plays it.
That might be the Rocky 4
I get
song.
tortured with that song around the house when Kathy plays it. Yeah.
Jamie, you want to pull that one up?
We don't want to listen to that song.
No, we don't want to get a strike. We did recently get our first strike. Brian, you want to tell the crowd real quick about our first strike?
Well, we can't monetize that episode.
I know we had so many people listening to it too.
And what did we do wrong?
We played for like a minute that song.
I played the
Breaking Bad
Badfinger song from Breaking Bad, Baby Blue.
So when we were playing the Guess the Song, or we were playing Guess the Song or Guess the Title or something like that?
You were just talking about it.
Oh.
Was that the one where we did multiple songs and that's the only song that got flagged? Or was there just...
I think that was
a different one?
That was the only one. Well, you got flagged for talking about the song? No, for
you
playing
actually
it.
No, I played it, yeah.
Okay. And then UCM... Can you hum along to it? And maybe
we could do all that stuff. We could sing our own lyrics to it, right? We could do that as long as...
once I get my keyboard all up and running, then...
So what I wanted to do was the Ropers, the TV show The Ropers.
Yeah.
I wanted to do the theme song for the Ropers.
And
Brian was trying to learn he was trying to learn the chords for that, right? Yeah. But that was a little difficult.
So we have a...
you did learn it? Oh, I thought you said you didn't want to do that. Or you...
Well, no, I figure once I figure it out, then we'll definitely...
Oh, that'd be funny.
So we have a podcast that nobody listens to, and yet somehow Universal Music was able to determine that we played a copyrighted
They must have
song.
algorithms
to it, right?
Yeah. That episode...
scouring the internet for the most bottom-of-the-barrel podcast. That's crazy. Sky. Wow, man, that is nuts.
It really is.
I don't think that episode even had that many views.
Really?
What's great is it says 12 views, like 11 of them were BMG or something like that.
So you say we can't monetize that. So if we all of a sudden decided to monetize our shows somehow, we put commercials at the beginning, would Universal reach out to us and say, we want to cut? Or
well, no,
we need 1,000 subscribers even get monetized.
The YouTube...
I think we have 12.
Yeah, any money from that YouTube video would automatically just go to Universal.
Oh, okay.
It's not every episode.
Would you say we're the most sophisticated podcast with 0 listeners?
Maybe that's the problem.
Yes, we're too highbrow out there. People are like, "This is way too."
But look, we get guests. I mean, we get guests from out of state. We get guests that are in state. Well, out of state
people
also.
Are traveling across a Delaware River. Just
well, the sad thing is your guest here doesn't even listen to the podcast. I mean, I did once.
The hosts don't either. It's all good.
He's not even subscribed.
I download him just to get
like every once in a while when I run across it, I'll like. It's like a pity like I'll put a like on it.
That's why we're up to 3 likes on all our posts.
So
Brian never reposts or retweets anything I put out there.
I know I'm terrible on social media,
but he does run the TikTok and the Facebook.
I meant to make one this weekend and I forgot. I'll do it for episode 20.
Well,
episode 20.
You like episode 20 for some reason, right? Didn't you feel like there should have been edits or no? I'm sorry. I know it took us away from Rocky. I apologize.
No, it's just as I was listening to it, I just wanted to make sure there wasn't anything like a name or something. And then I ended up listening to it.
Names. Did you have anything special you wanted to discuss about it, or did you want to wait until we got into the flow of it? Like, did you want to bring up something at the top of it, or
no? One's specific to a person that's in it. So once you maybe bring that person up as a cast member,
I think I have an idea what you might be thinking about.
Oh, really? Okay,
possibly. Because I wanted to bring everybody's attention. Did anybody notice Rocky Jr. in this movie?
What, his son?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Did you know that Rocky Jr. identifies as a woman now?
That really? I did not know, really?
Wait, the real kid, Sylvester Stallone's son?
Sylvester Stallone's kid in the movie. It's not his real...
It's not his real kid.
No, it's not his real son.
I thought he put his real son in the movie.
I think in 4. Okay. I think that's where his real son comes in. I know
what's his face plays his son at one point. Milo
Ventimiglia.
Yeah, I think he plays his son at one point.
The kid's name was Ian Fried, and he changed his name to Ina instead of Ian. Ina
like
Fried.
Vagina. Okay, very good.
So,
but he didn't. He stopped acting after like 19. I don't even think 1990 was the last.
So he was the movie actor, not the real son.
He was in so many things I had seen him in too. I knew him in from Silver Spoons, from Different Strokes. Yeah, I seen him in other things. So it was like I was like, I know this kid, and then for some reason I looked him up, and then I was like, Ian Fried, and then I was like, I started seeing something that said "she" in the description, and I was like, what am I reading? I'm confused here.
Everybody's confused now.
Maybe it was all that toxic masculinity in the movie, because Rocky 3 really just encapsulated that.
So I guess that wasn't what you were thinking about.
Or leaving your child alone with Paulie while you...
Also, how old do you think Rocky Jr.?
Well, I was going to say, like, is he like our age? Was he 12 in that movie? So he's like, well, not your age, but like, is he like...
He was born the same year as me, 1974.
So he is your age, exactly.
Yeah, he's 7. Okay. He's 7 in the movie, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he looked older than that.
He had that... He also had that Damien look, didn't he? Like
he did.
From Omen, right?
Yeah, he did.
He had that look because I think it's the black hair and the bang.
Yeah, the bowl haircut. He could have started doing Red Rum. Yeah. Right, now I'm crossing over my horror genre movies.
That's what we do here. We're all over the place, but at least we're back on Rocky 3.
So that's not who I want to talk about. But now, you've spoiled that Rocky Jr. Was his name Rocky Jr. too?
Did I really spoil it?
Oh no, his age. Like no. I know you wanted to do the age.
I have ages of other people here.
So no, that's not the person I want to talk about. I mean, the person I want to talk about, it's not a secret if we want to start with that.
Yeah, let's start with it.
So Hulk Hogan, Thunderlips.
Nice. Yeah.
I think it made his career.
Well, I was very interested in
it was the ultimate male versus the ultimate meatball.
Yes.
And he kept calling him Meatball.
The mountain of molten lust.
He kept calling him Meatball the whole time. But I was very interested in knowing
hey, man, why don't you throw me over here? We'll do this first.
If he was already a known quantity at that point, Hulk Hogan, and apparently he wasn't even in the WWF yet.
No, I used to follow wrestling back then. I never even heard of the guy.
Wrestling. He was in CWA wrestling, and then after that, his first movie, Rocky 3.
Apparently, Vince McMahon
How old is Terry Bollea?
Kicked him out of whatever that was because he told Hulk Hogan not to do this movie. And then he fired him, and so he went to the WWF after appearing in this. And of course, like
it made his career
exploded after this. He was like the biggest guy.
He
became Hulk Hogan after that, and then Hollywood Hogan.
He already had his leg drop because he did the leg drop to
the evil Hulk Hogan.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Oh, he did the black beard, painted on black beard.
But he did his finishing move, the leg drop. He already had that going for him because he was doing the leg drop there. And but how old was Terry Bollea?
In the movie?
In real life, yeah.
Oh, so let's see. So he's probably like, I'm going to guess and say he's like 70 now. So I'm going to say he was 30.
Brian with an I.
I'm going to say 29. I don't even know who this dude is.
It's Hulk Hogan.
Oh, that's his real name?
Yeah.
See, okay. I'm a little slow. I'm a little stupid like Rocky.
Punchy over there?
Oh, yeah. I need more beer.
There you go. Well, more beer.
Okay, I'm just taking a guess. I'm probably in his 32, I'm going to guess.
He was 28.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
28.
Okay. Wow.
He was fresh from ready for WWF at that time.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense if he wasn't even a WWF guy. They was that young. So
those girls like them.
But that was his
that was
first
the only
movie,
thing that was the only thing I was interested in. The only other trivia thing I happen to see that matters not at all, but
Rocky Jr.
the novelization of the Rocky 3 movie, they went into more detail about Clubber Lang's like upbringing and his life on the streets, and that he was like an orphanage and stuff like that. And I just happened to see that when I was looking up. I was looking up specifically to see about like.
So this is one of those books. It's like
it came out after
a major motion picture on the cover of it,
based on the motion picture. So apparently, like because they have to fill out a book, they had to go into more Clubber Lang detail. So he grew up on the mean streets of Chicago.
It is weird because Clubber Lang comes really out of nowhere, just like.
And then goes back to nowhere after the movie's done. Most fighters don't just disappear.
Yeah,
he does show up in WrestleMania 3, I think.
But I mean, Hulk Hogan.
So he did. I guess that did good for his. But
Clubber Lang should get a rematch. Like
I would think so.
Rocky IV he would come back.
Rocky IV should have at least started with a rematch of Clubber Lang.
He knocks him out in the second. Spoiler alert: he knocks him out in the second round in the first fight. Clubber Lang knocks him out in the second round in the first fight. He loses the second match. Rocky wins that, obviously. But like, why wouldn't there be a rematch?
Yeah, he just disappears.
I mean, that the money,
and they move on to the next. They move on to Russian guy.
They're like, oh, it's 85. We got to do Russia, or whatever year Rocky IV came out. I don't know what year it came out.
But it's made Mr. T's career too.
Sure,
A-Team
came out right after that. Yeah,
A-Team was huge. He was also on Different Strokes. Arnold
was he with like Nancy Reagan or something?
Nancy
like
Reagan
that?
and
I remember
the don't do drugs thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Arnold shaves his head into the mohawk to impress a girl.
That's right, but he didn't really shave his head, right?
Yeah, it was fake.
It was a bad bald cap.
You could see the bald cap. Yeah.
I do, and he had the chain, the earrings with the feathers and stuff. What you talking about, Mr. T?
Yeah, because they filmed like an episode of the A-Team in the building. And they were using Drummond's like apartment. It was just like
really for an A-Team episode.
And they were it was a Different Strokes episode when Mr. T and Nancy Reagan were on
in the Different Strokes episode. They were filming an A-Team episode in that.
Yeah, I guess that was meta back then. Right?
That is very meta right there. Yeah,
that wasn't the bullying episode, was it? Because I haven't seen that in a long time.
No, that one.
The Gooch and
the Gooch.
Yeah. We could talk the Gooch. Yeah. That's a separate thing. I could talk Different Strokes, Brady Bunch. What's another Happy Days? Those are all Three's
Company.
Three's Company. Yeah.
Three's Company's still on. I watch it sometimes.
Yeah, it's on
it's still good. I mean, you know every episode, even if you haven't seen that one, you know how it's going to be. You just don't know who's going to be the one that's hearing something incorrectly,
misunderstood something,
situation,
misplacing something, or
the old sitcom.
I like the one where there was, I think Jack thought that Mr. Roper was growing weed in the backyard.
Yeah, I do remember that. And there was at least a half dozen episodes.
There's
where
another
Jack
episode where
one of the girls was pregnant because he overheard something.
That was the last one I saw. Yeah,
there's another episode where Janet, I think, is doing like a presentation for like some flower show, and her flowers have weed.
She had the flower shop. Yeah. I remember she had the flower shop.
So racy.
I love Joyce DeWitt. Man.
What was Chrissy's job? Jack was the chef. Janet ran the flower shop.
And Terry was a nurse.
Oh yeah, I knew that. Terry was a nurse.
And
what was Cindy too?
Cindy and Chrissy. I don't know their jobs.
Cindy was. I know Suzanne Summers had a boss at one time was Jeffrey Tambor was our boss at one time.
He brought him
right?
home. That was the where
they thought he was a nut.
He was going, yeah. He's like, oh my god. That's
but then
like
Jeffrey Tambor is the neighbor in the Bropers, so it's funny.
But that's Jeffrey Tambor episode. That was with the dum didn't want him chew episode. Oh my god, that's one of the all.
Well, there was an Office Party one. I forget which one of the.
It had to have been Chrissy, right? Because the other two don't really work in an office.
Yeah, because Jack is the chef, like you said, and
he must have been like
and Jack was catering to the Office Party. Well, the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I don't remember who it was. Which one of the girls?
Can you tell me the name of Jack's boss?
At
where? At the French restaurant.
Oh, at the French restaurant. Wow. No.
Anybody?
No.
Mr. Angelino.
Is that the place that he ends up buying to become Jack's Bistro?
That's the one that ends up. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I kind of like how he was the fake gay guy in Three's Company, but he was the real gay guy in Sling Blade. You know,
that's right.
So
yeah.
Kind of did that crossover, kind of like Rocky's son.
You know,
John Ritter, one of those guys. Nobody has a bad word to say about the guy. Everybody that's worked with him has had nothing but good things to say about him. He was always nice.
He was
to
cool,
me,
and he died way too soon. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Always nice to me.
And John Ritter had what to do with Rocky 3 now? Nothing.
We got on Three's Company somehow.
Who knows?
All right, we'll pull it back.
So, what do we want to talk about next on Rocky 3?
You want to do a couple more ages?
Sure.
All right, let's do Paulie.
40.
I'm going to say at least 40, 45.
So this movie's 40 years old, and
correct,
and Burt Young is still alive.
He's still alive.
Yeah, he's still alive. And
that's right. We looked him up.
He looks like he's 50 in this episode. In this movie, he looks like he's 50.
Well, because I'm old and crusty now, he's actually looking kind of young.
Yeah, but I mean, he looks like an old man already in this.
Well, he does, but I think that's.
But I'm going to say he's not really that old. I'm going to say he's like 38,
42.
40
is the
Damn,
correct answer. Yeah, he's 82.
82 now. All right.
I like at the beginning how he was all dejected.
Oh my god, that was great.
And then it all came down to he's drinking and everything, and he busts up the Rocky. You know,
it was great. The video, pinball machine.
Yeah, the pinball machine, and then he gets bailed out by Rocky, and then has this big ass sob story.
All he wanted was a job.
Shit. Yeah, bingo. Yeah, that's the point. And then they're all happy about it. Why don't you just ask me for a job? No, okay, and it's all good. Everyone's happy again.
When I saw Rocky 3 in the theater, it like came back to me like in a wave as I was watching this movie last night. When he broke the pinball machine, and you see like the lights forming like the Rocky behind, I was like, "That's how they do these pinball machines." It's like I just figured it was like a big light behind there, but it was like they actually like put them in strategic places. So and I remember thinking that when I saw it back in 1982, I was like, "No way!"
And he got arrested for that too.
Yeah,
because he got picked.
I kind of wish they.
I would have taken off. I would have ran out of there.
He didn't tell his. He didn't tell Adrian.
Right.
I was kind of wishing they had shown the actual arrest because all of a sudden he just wakes up in the drunk tank. I was like, I want to see him getting like beat down.
I don't sweat you. Telling that to the cops.
It escalated so quick for him though, too, didn't it? I know the movie was only an hour and 30 minutes, but
and then it just de-escalated. Everything was fine after
because he offered him the job right away. And he's like, "All right, you're going to be my."
But people were saying like, "Tell Rock, tell Rock I said hi" and stuff like that. That's
I mean, it gets annoying.
But who is he to Rock?
He's all jealous.
He is
Adrian's
brother, so he's his brother-in-law.
Yeah.
I mean, because in Rocky 1, he sets them up.
Yep.
Like she's working at the pet store, and he's friends with Rocky before he knows her.
And then Rocky knocks her up. So he's you knocked off my sister.
Do they get married in the first one or the second one? I know the kid's born in the second one, obviously, because he's in this movie. But like
for some reason, I want to say the first one.
Yeah,
but I might be wrong.
Before the fight, maybe. I know she goes into a coma after having the baby.
Oh, right? That's right. And then, she always was that voice of inspiration.
Yeah, well, right.
But she had it from one word, win.
Yeah.
Right, and then the music, Bill Conti's,
And then, Mickey's like, let's do it.
Yeah.
I was watching it last night, and I'm watching, I'm fucking forgetting his name. Burgess Meredith. I'm watching Burgess Meredith, and I'm like, he was whatever he is. How old was he then?
What's your guess?
I'm going to say like 75.
Oh, 77. I'm just pulling it out of my ass.
77.
I'm going to say
1.
can't go away. You can't do that.
I'm going to say 70.
74.
Okay. Now, he lived a lot longer because he was doing like those Walter Matthau, John Lemon movies like in the early 90s there. Grumpy Old Men. He was Jack Lemon's dad in those. That's how old he is. But I'm watching him and I'm like, man, they need to figure out a way to like clone people just so you can always have Burgess Meredith playing like the 75-year-old crotchety old man because he's so good at it.
Yep.
With the hearing aid like hanging off. It's not even in his ear. It's just like hanging on his ear. Oh, man. He plays that role so well.
Yeah.
So well. And it was really fun to watch him and, you know.
Yeah, and watch him die. And they didn't even send him off to an ambulance. They just left him on the fucking table.
You know,
well, that was him. He said he didn't want to go.
There is so much.
Rocky had to make him go. He's like, I didn't need to.
Yeah, but wouldn't you think like medical professionals would step in and say, no, we need to take him?
You would also, if
but
you're
this was
Rocky,
the 80s.
If you're Rocky, you should immediately say, I'm not going out there and fighting. We're getting you to a hospital right now. That should have.
He lived in 1997. He was age 89.
89, okay.
I saw a dead body on the way here.
What are you talking about?
Deer?
There's the dead body up on Georgetown, Wrightstown Road.
Is it someone we know?
No, I don't know. He was laying against, or he, she, whatever.
What in the hell are you talking about, man?
Well, next to
this
a
is
fence.
not getting cut either. This is not getting cut out of the episode.
What are you talking about?
There's the police.
Did somebody get hit or something?
EMTs.
Damn, I was trying to dump that body off before I got here.
He's like throwing.
I didn't throw it into the woods deep enough.
He's over there.
So there was a real body. Like
you saw the body.
We think it had to have been a body.
No wonder Brady
it was covered in white sheet. Well, Brady didn't see it. Carrie. It was when I was with Carrie.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
But they were still there when me and Brady
Are any of your
came.
children missing? I've accounted for I've only accounted for one of mine so far today. I should probably reach out to the other one and say, like,
I accounted for two. I don't know where the third one is. Oh, she's at her boyfriend's.
Was there like a car accident or something?
No, it couldn't have been. I saw he was covered by a white sheet. He was laying against
he's just
by a
sleeping.
fence, like behind a tree line.
They tucked him in.
Yeah, what are you talking
They had
about?
it roped off, and as we're driving by, I'm just like, that's a dead body.
Wow.
And Connor was like, he says, yeah, that's a crime scene. They taped it all off.
So you have to wonder if it was an accident or if there was a murder.
Or he offed himself.
Tune in next week on True Crime Podcast.
I remember the
exciting and new podcast.
When I was in college, the apartment that Bruce and Brent and I lived in, there was woods behind there, and a person went missing. I remember just whatever, it was in the news. Somebody went missing, and years and years later, like Michelle and I were married and had kids and everything they found a body in the woods behind our apartment. So it was technically there when we were living in that apartment complex. They just didn't find the body for like 20 more years. But I remember when they announced that, I was like, oh, that's right, we were living at the time.
Oh, I wonder if we left any of our DNA on that.
Yeah. I found a dead rat today.
Well, that's not as fun.
No.
Yeah.
And speaking of killing animals, there's going to be a holocaust of wasps and bees tomorrow. I bought 4 cans of Raid because I was getting all the stuff on my deck and getting dive bombed by wasps and carpenter bees. And I'm like, I'm killing all.
What are you like? You're all dying tomorrow.
I'm like
chemical warfare.
I had one of my cushions, and I was just like swatting at them, and I'm not connecting. I'm like, I'm killing every last motherfucker.
Is there a hive or something up there?
There must be. There must be. But oh my god, they were driving me crazy. So now they all have to die. If they just left me alone, they could have lived out through the summer. Now they're all going to die. And that's it.
Isn't that don't we have a rule with them? You don't bother me, I won't bother you.
There should be a rule,
man.
This is ethnic cleansing.
I'm getting rid of all the wasps.
Yes. Yeah. White Anglo sack. Never mind.
How old was Mr. T?
Mr. T was
28. I'm going to say
30.
Go in the middle.
29.
There you go.
Wow. Okay.
And the story goes that
he was in great shape back then, because I remember him from the A-Team. He got kind of fat, and then more and more chains every episode. It was like a new chain.
His hook,
50
his hook was throwing
gold.
Rocky like 4 feet after every time.
Right into the turnbuckle.
Yeah.
Oh,
when they
lift them off the ground.
When they weighed in at the first fight, Rocky was
205 or 207,
and he was
something like that.
237 or something like that. So he had him by 30.
He was
pounds,
solid, man. He just
But those trainings where he's like doing the pull-ups and you just see his back going up.
Yep,
man.
Train, brother.
They apparently they were trying to find someone and trying to find someone. They could not.
Wasn't he a
find,
security guard
or bouncer? He was a bouncer,
and he worked security bodyguard.
And someone just happened to mention him. They're like, "Hey, this might be," because they were trying to find
Was this his first? I wonder if this was his first.
I think it was. I think he was nothing
yeah.
before this.
Yeah, and I thought he acted great in the movie.
He acted,
pretty much.
He was perfect. He's one of those hidden gems, just somebody just spotted him somewhere or whatever,
But I don't think he has any range because he took that into the A-Team and everything after.
He's only got 49 credits.
But it's weird because his A-Team guy was kind of like he was in
Rocky 3 was his third.
Really? So he wasn't
venture. Penitentiary 2 was his second venture.
I was going to say, does porno count? Because Rocky was in porno.
That's
too.
right. Yeah, his first was a movie from 1980. You're a big fan of this movie.
Empire Strikes Back.
No. Yeah, he played.
he was Darth Vader.
R2D2. Him and Warwick Davis.
Is this a movie we've seen?
Yeah.
And he's in it, and really
over the top.
Let me tell you what his credit is. He's Guy on Street.
Oh, geez.
Is he in the Blues Brothers?
Yes, he is.
Oh, wow.
Total guess because that takes place in Chicago. He's a Chicago guy, and there's
Guy
a lot of guys on
Blues
streets.
Brothers. Yeah.
Wow, he's in that, huh?
Yeah. Now we have to watch that just to see if we can spot him.
I was watching this '76 King Kong movie last week.
Yeah, you were talking about that.
Not that you would ever see them in the actual movie, but as I was looking up who's in it, whatever, I'm trying to figure out certain people. Joe Piscopo and somebody else of the time were in it as cameramen, uncredited, not in just
as cameramen, they were holding a camera.
They were at the scene when King Kong fell and died,
as a news guy.
Yeah, as a news guy, but they were they're not in the credits, and you would never know that Joe Piscopo's in it, but. Now Joe Piscopo's in it because he became somebody. So they were like, I was in that movie.
I guess we should give him a credit on this movie now.
It was just that's the same kind of thing, Mr. T.
That's like the Love Boat credits, too, when we would have Shelley Long. She wouldn't be in the main credits with Joanna Kearns. It was because this was some of their first work before they were on Growing Pains or Cheers and everything.
They were unknowns.
So they were unknowns.
I find that funny when you find out that someone was in
Andy was in love with Joanna Kearns in that episode.
She was right perfect for me because she was tall. And
who's I don't think I know her.
That's the mom from Growing Pains.
Yeah, I never really
Kirk
watched
Cameron,
that show. Yeah, I vaguely remember.
Yeah. Was that with Boner?
That was with Boner, yeah. Boner. He died.
The late Boner.
That's also David Koenig's...
Walter Koenig.
Walter Koenig. Why did I say... I think his name was David.
He might be David.
Walter Koenig's
Chekhov
son,
from Star Trek's son.
Oh.
He's Boner.
He actually... I guess he was in his 40s, and he just disappeared at one time, and he was missing person for a little while, and then they found him dead.
Yeah, didn't he kill himself? Yeah, I think he killed himself.
That's by a white fence.
What's that?
By a white fence.
Down the road.
He didn't just kill himself. It didn't just happen today.
Well, maybe they just found that body after 20 years.
And here I was waiting for somebody to make a boner joke. He went with that.
Do we need to make a boner joke?
I know, but I thought that's where we were going. I guess that's where I went.
I don't think boner needs to be joked upon.
It is a joke.
You think about that, though. That was the 80s, so they were getting that name in on the 80s. That's pretty fun. I mean,
because I remember watching that and giggling.
I know, and be like,
my parents were like,
"Am I allowed to laugh at this?"
I don't think it was maybe Generation X made boner what we made it today, and the generation
maybe it was something before that. Boner was just
it was a joke.
It was a mistake.
When you pull a boner on somebody, it wasn't whipping your dick out back then. It was.
It wasn't Jeffrey Tubin.
It is now. Yeah, Tubin.
That's the last name we can do, right?
There you go. So, Mr. T, looking good, great actor in this.
Oh, thank you, sir. You guys are all.
This is from
here.
Spellbound.
That's a good brewery. Our friends at Spellbound.
I was looking for John today.
If I keep drinking these, you're going to have to start hitting the edit button.
On our podcast and do some advertising.
They were packed. There was 100 people there today. Nah, 75 people there today. They had a whole outdoor place. There were probably 25, 30 people out there. They've expanded their drinking area now. Remember
they had a little bar area,
where the bar was, and you could drink there. And then there's a door that goes back into where the big kegs are. And they were playing cornhole in there, and they have a TV now, so people were just sitting there watching soccer for instance.
Sorry, cornhole to me is like boner.
It's the same thing, right? Yeah.
And the family, they have the cornhole, and they're always, let's pull out the cornhole, and I'm giggling
I'll tell you what.
The first time I
watch it on ESPN, that's some good stuff, man. I get involved in it when I catch it on
what
TV.
They have professional
There's
cornhole?
Professional. They're sponsors on their jerseys and everything.
God, man, nowadays crazy.
They're sponsored by like what's that charcoal? Sanford charcoal or whatever it is. Or,
sponsored by KY.
Look, we are looking for sponsors. Blue Chew, if you're interested. BetterHelp.com. I hear that one a lot.
It always seems to be like the same 2 or 3 companies.
And they'll do like, it's like almost like they give, this is their month. They're like, okay, we're going to be on everybody's podcast this month. And then they're on to the next one. But I don't know.
So Rocky 3.
Rocky 3. What do you guys think, man? Do we want any more ages? Did I have any more ages for you? Let's see.
Sly
and Adrian. Let's do those two.
So they mentioned he's 34 in this. Yeah. So I'm going to say 34, but he's probably younger.
Yeah, I'm going to have to say the same. And then what you wanted to also know, like Adrian?
Yeah.
What did I say before? 30.
30 for Adrian, and you're saying 34?
I mean, she was in The Godfather. This is 10 years after The Godfather. So is she like 20 in The Godfather? I would have thought she was like 20. I'm going to say 32 for Adrian.
Brian? And I'm Brian.
What were the other ones? You said 32, 35?
34
no. He said 30.
He
said 30 and 34. He said 34 and
32.
32.
I'm going to go much older for both of them.
Wow, much older.
Well, no.
He's got Rocky at 98 years old.
I'm going to do like 36 and 35.
All right, so we got Sly at 35 and Adrian at 36. So
there you go.
Shit around.
Wow,
it
really?
Right. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So she was that old then already, huh? She looked good.
So she was 26 then for the Godfather. That's not bad. Yeah. All right, I have one more age here. I got Duke's age. If anybody was interested in Duke's
I remember when he
age.
died a couple years ago.
Which one is Duke?
He's Tony Burton.
He is Apollo's trainer.
Oh,
the
that
ball guy.
Okay.
He had
that look on his.
I'm gonna say, and he was in Rocky 4 because he trains Rocky after Apollo dies.
R.I.P. Spoiler alert for our podcast.
I'm gonna say he was 40.
Brian's.
I'm gonna say 45, maybe higher, 48, maybe, because he kind of looks a little rough.
He's bald.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go
not like me, and
between.
I'm 53. So,
What are you saying? 28?
28.
You really saying 28?
44.
45 was correct.
45.
Okay.
You know, the guy that played.
Well, how about Apollo?
Oh, yeah.
Do you have his age?
I
Carl
do
Weathers?
have. I thought we did Apollo. I'm sorry. But yeah, I have it. Yeah.
37.
Brian.
Yeah, that sounds good. 36, because I don't want to,
Bump
repeat
heads.
that. Yeah.
Can't take the
I'm
same.
going to say 40.
And I'm Brian. I was hoping you would have said that. And I'm Brian. 34.
34.
Oh.
Yeah. Young guy. The guy that played Clubber Lang's
Mr.
corner man.
Oh,
the guy
yeah,
that played his guy. The guy that.
Oh, yeah. The older guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Morgan Freeman tried out for it.
Did he really?
And did not get the role.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe he was too good for that role.
Maybe. He
Maybe.
was too. I mean, it's kind of
because they don't want to role. Yeah, because he was already famous.
Could you imagine he'd just be back there going like,
maybe it was because
just the sultry Morgan Freeman.
He sounded
voice.
too nice. It's like
you
like
got to.
It's like when
punch.
Whenever Denzel talks, he's like, when the devil is going to come for you when you're at your highest moment. You know, the way Denzel says something, you're like, damn, Denzel, what are you saying? And you're like.
They're like Shawshank
overrated movie.
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
I know. I bring it up every single time. That movie's overrated.
Fuck you.
What, Shawshank?
Yep,
it's a great movie.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's bad. It's overrated.
All right. The only other thing that I want to point out from Rocky 3 that I noticed when Rocky was fighting all his, I guess, set up fights,
all the bums, beginning,
all black guys. When they showed,
who set up all Rocky's fights?
Well, Mickey.
Right, Mickey.
Yeah. But when
carried him like Larry Holmes. That's how I was able to relate it to actually life. Same
thing, right? Yeah. When Clubber Lang was fighting all his guys, all the guys that he was knocking out on like one punch, all white guys except for one black guy. I was like, that's really weird that they did that. I wonder if that was some.
Everybody that Rocky fought was
every guy was black that Rocky fought. And every guy was white except for one guy for Clubber Lang.
Clubber Lang fought Frank Stallone because I think Frank Stallone was one of the fighters.
Oh, really?
Oh, that's so great because he gets his way into like every movie.
Yeah, and he was also that was his song Pushin'.
No, was it?
That's Frank Stallone's song during that scene.
Because I was looking for him in the band
when they're in the gym. And they're training, and it's like all like.
So he did work his way in there, not where I thought. I thought he was in the band in that scene. There,
he might have been. He was in two. He was two characters in this, so he might have been. I think he might have been in the band as well. Yeah, guitar. I think he was guitar and and fighter.
Because in the original movie, he was the singer, right, around the burning what do you call oil can?
Oh, was he really?
Yeah, when the bums were hanging around.
Yeah.
What was his big song?
Pushin' was the one I was.
No, but Frank Stallone had one big song, right?
Well,
he had.
I don't know about big, but for him,
he had one great hit on Saturday Night Live when Norm would say, "Frank Stallone."
But he had like a big hit, like in the mid '80s.
Wait, Brian's looking it up. Hold on.
Just like our good.
It's Frank Stallone, you're saying?
Yeah.
Were you not listening to his talk?
You can't play it because
don't play
we
it.
haven't said any other names in the past 10 minutes, but
he'll charge us to play it. He ought to be like happy that we're like promoting him.
We could get Frank Stallone on this podcast.
Sure, he probably lives down the street.
He might be under that.
Hey,
Under the cloth.
Joey Diaz and Jim Florentine are in Hillsborough. We can get them to come over, right?
All right.
I'm never going to give you up.
Never gonna give you. That's Rick Astley,
from
isn't
Staying
it?
Alive.
Yeah,
from the movie Staying Alive.
That could be him. Then,
okay.
Far
From Over, Moody Girl, Pushin'.
Pushin' was the one from Rocky 3.
Waking Up, Take You Back, and Her.
None of them are jumping
Elvis
off the page.
Costello has a good song called Her.
They're not all hits.
She. It's called She.
She. Doesn't Kiss have a she also?
Yes.
Yes. I also have Beth.
Oh, someone asked, what was Frank Stallone's biggest hit? And it's Far From Over.
Far From Over.
Now, see, we can't listen to it because we'll get a strike.
I'm hearing that in my head, but it sounds like a Journey or a Foreigner song in my head. I don't know why. Maybe they have one of those too, but anyway.
Far From Home, it sounds like it's a Spider-Man movie.
So you can't even play it for 2 seconds, right? And like,
I can name that song in 3 notes.
Yeah, exactly. And
I'm seeing if I can play it.
I have the domestic box office. If you want to guess that,
I do. I want to know. Well,
that was a hit movie from what I remember when I was a kid.
Now I don't have the inflation. Huge. I didn't do that part.
Yeah, so that makes it always tough. But I'm sure the budget was like. I'm going to guess and say like.
Oh, I had the budget too.
All right.
You want the budget first? We'll do the budget first.
I'd be interested in knowing what the.
Well, it's got to be bigger than original Rocky.
Yeah, I'm going to say this was
the
probably
original Rocky budget was because original Rocky probably was really cheap.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah,
I'm thinking the original one was probably like a couple million. This was probably like $30 million. I mean, just to rent out Madison Square Garden to film fighting scenes and stuff like that.
Yeah, right.
So we got $30 million.
I'm going to say higher, 45.
This sounds like The Price is Right. We're all like trying to guess. Okay, I guess $1 million.
Is that your guess? 1 million?
Yeah.
All right. It was 17 million.
That's it. 17 million.
But it's also.
You see, you all overbid, so I won.
Wow. Man, that looked.
You figure it was 1981, 82 when they were shooting.
But there was a lot of production in this movie, unlike the first two.
Yeah, but there's some crappy production in this movie too. Like just in the credits alone, Rocky 3 comes across 3 times. I read that
they did Rocky 3.
Rocky 3 comes across the screen real big,
and then they did
fireworks, and then it's in the corner. Like a minute later, it's in the corner. Rocky 3. It's like,
in case you missed it.
In case you didn't know that it was.
You're like,
in case you were out getting popcorn and you forgot which movie theater to come back.
Did I go into the wrong theater? I thought we were in theater 2.
This was Rocky 2. I was going to say.
So 17 million was the budget, and now we're talking domestic.
I mean, like
domestic box office. I don't know what the price of. I think the price of a movie was maybe $3 or $5, something like that. I don't know.
Oh, wait a second. The first one was budget.
Yeah, how much did it cost to make?
How much did it cost to make?
Did you think that was my domestic box office?
All right, let's read. All right, we're gonna cut now, and then we're gonna.
So I'm gonna say it made $100 million. $100 million.
$100 million over here. Okay, Brian. We'll go to this Brian first.
Probably 150.
Well, I'm going to go. I said 45 before, but I'll go up to 50.
Okay, so we got 50, 150, and 100, right? The answer is 125 million.
Wow.
Woo, damn.
Yep.
Wow. That's, I mean, that on a $17 million budget, I mean, no wonder they made a part 4.
I probably saw that movie 20 times alone, so I really contributed to that.
That's because you're a wrecking machine.
I definitely saw it at least once in the theater, but
I don't think I saw this in the theater because I was only 8.
No, I was 12. So
I never saw it.
This is the first time.
Oh, this is your first time watching?
I've only seen
I'm curious.
Rocky 4.
Oh, so you haven't? This is out of
the
order
original
for him.
one,
That's
right?
really weird.
No, I never saw the original.
Honestly, I thought you had seen all the Rockies. That's why.
That's funny because like you watched Rocky 4 without having any backstory, but it didn't matter probably.
No, not for that
because all
one.
it comes down to is the fight
that was
at
just
the
it
end,
was
but,
America versus Russia.
But they do
Yeah.
kill Apollo in there. You're probably like, who's this guy? Like, who cares?
Why-
if this
why do we
guy
care?
dies?
Going
This guy
into
got
this,
killed.
I got confused. Rocky 3, I was like, well, when does Apollo get, turned out, And I'm like, oh, wait, that's the next one. I'm like, Mickey dies in this one. Okay.
Mickey, Apollo,
Yeah.
and then Adrian.
Yeah, because they showed Mickey early on just grabbing his chest at one point.
Well, you have to set up the.
Yeah.
You have to
Wait, Adrian dies?
in maybe not part 5 in Rocky Balboa.
Oh, I never saw Balboa.
That's a good one.
She's already
I
dead.
haven't seen it in a long
She doesn't
time.
die on screen. She's already dead. He owns like
Oh,
a
yeah.
restaurant in Philadelphia, and he's like kind of just like, playing like local celebrity. People come in and he talks to them and stuff like that, and then he goes
It's
to
like
her.
Grandpa Al Lewis when he had his Italian restaurant.
And then he goes to her grave, and I think
okay.
Paulie's.
Does she give a
also
nice
dead.
speech at her grave too? She gave him a really good speech in this
He's
one.
giving the old, Adrian, I'm thinking of.
But she gave him a good talking to in this one.
Oh,
about,
did she give him a speech after he's
Rocky
dead?
3? No,
Oh.
yeah, that's what I was wondering if she gave him a speech after she died.
You see, what you're missing out of the first Rocky and second one is how stupid he was.
Oh, that came through.
I wanted to talk.
Well, he's like sophisticated.
It is funny how
it was like money got him smarter. In Rocky 2, do you remember when they tried to do the commercial when he was trying to film the commercial? He was all
couldn't even
spiced,
read everything.
and he was like, "It'll make you smell really good," and they're like, "Cut! Like you're a fucking retard. Get out of here." And then at the beginning of Rocky 3, he's all dressed up
Yep.
in his duds and shit.
Well,
and
Paulie
he's
did
like
say-
pulling it off. American Express. He got smarter with money.
Paulie did
He
say
was
he's
just,
like,
he
you got your
was just
face
like
fixed
he
up,
was
but-
getting soft too. That they were just trying to show him getting soft.
I remember
guess,
in the
right?
first
Yeah, I
one.
guess,
In
yeah.
the first one, he's like a mob enforcer. He's like breaking thumbs
Yeah,
for like
that
a
was
local,
the- yeah.
like a local mob guy.
He's just a Philly
Yep.
guy, just a Philly tough guy.
But yeah, he messes up the commercial. I remember the guy asks him like after at the beginning of the second one, he asks him about getting involved in condominiums. And Rocky's
I don't
like,
use
and
condoms.
that's exactly- he says, he's like, I don't use them. And like, the guy's like, the fuck?
But I love the first two for different reasons that I love.
Well, you celebrate the
three.
entire catalog, which I think is good. I haven't seen the Creed movies. I hear nothing but good things about them, but I just never
Honestly,
watched
except for Rocky 5, I like every single Rocky movie, every single one, and for different reasons. Like,
And I haven't seen really the newer ones.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
saw Rocky Balboa, but I was checked out by Creed, so
I
I'm
think they're
probably
making
going to go
Creed
back
3.
and watch that.
Creed 1 is excellent. It's really a great movie. It
They're
might
making
be
Creed
like
3 now.
Well, I think both Creed movies have made tons of money,
Yeah.
so they should. And I think Michael B. Jordan's directing the third one.
I think I heard something about that too.
he's
yeah.
he's the guy.
I wanted
he's
to- I wanted
he's
to-
Creed.
I wanted to mention he's Creed's son. Is that what
He
it
is his illegitimate son because his name's like
That's in the Rocky universe?
yeah. Rocky's in it. He's like his trainer and stuff.
Oh,
like
so
that.
you've seen?
Yeah.
Have you seen the Creed movies?
No,
or
I haven't seen
Okay,
it.
that would have been funny. He's like, I love Creed.
Sylvester Stallone's like in him. I don't know why though. But yeah, he's his trainer. He comes back to Philly to find.
Like, did you see the
Rocky.
cameo that Sylvester Stallone had in Creed? It's pretty cool.
Speaking of cameo, the company cameo,
band?
I saw Gilbert Godfrey made $2 million off
I heard-
cameo
yeah.
in his life.
Yeah.
Just
He was one of their
As a cameo?
they doing those cameo things where you call someone, you just record
He
a
would
message,
record a
for,
message
somebody.
for somebody,
It's a
yeah.
service. It's called cameo where you I want to
pay for-
I want to.
Oh, is that like the Island Boys one that
Yeah.
I was
Yes,
sharing? Okay.
yes. So you can
Yeah.
pay
Wow.
for a celebrity to.
Yeah.
Do
R.I.P.
something.
Gilbert. We haven't mentioned it,
Oh,
but
thank you,
R.I.P.
Unfortunately, this is going to
Gilbert
come out
Godfrey, yeah.
months after he died.
A couple
so-
months after he died, though. Not real much. Really.
Yeah. Well,
Actually,
maybe
next month.
a month and a half. But Gilbert was one of the all-time best. I loved him.
Yeah.
Very sad that he's gone. And shocking. I hate that these guys aren't letting us know that they're sick before they die because
He had people come over to him to see him and say goodbye to him the night before.
I saw Jeff Ross's eulogy where he said him and who else? He said him and another guy went.
I
and
forget who
visited
it
him.
was, but
It was
yeah.
another famous comedian.
Yeah.
They went to his
David Tell.
David Tell.
Yeah.
Because Tell was there too. Yeah, and they went to his house to like.
I
say
can't
goodbye.
help but think that Gilbert on his deathbed, when people were coming to say their goodbyes, he was probably roasting them.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
I would
like
hope so.
ah!
Well,
You
he
know,
was
making
even
fun of them.
he was even tweeting out stuff about like Chris Rock after the whole Chris Rock Will Smith thing, like which
Yeah.
was a week before he died.
Wow,
So
damn.
he was still.
God bless him.
Yeah, he was still doing the podcast. There's still one podcast last episode that's recorded that they have to air. It's a two-parter.
I was wondering,
Frank's taking a break from social media right now with him and his wife. He said because he ran the business. Like if you ordered like merch and everything, it was Frank and his wife putting that together and all that stuff. So
I was wondering if they were going to. I got a final episode.
I got a heart from Frank on my little RIP that I gave to Gilbert out on.
That podcast Twitter, was good.
It really is, and you can go back and listen to some of the older episodes. They're all out on.
They should make all the other ones available too. The ones that were behind the paywall.
They are. That's what I'm saying. They're out there now. Yeah,
they're out there now.
Yeah,
that's good. All right.
He was on Stern like every other week, wasn't he?
Back in the day.
And then he wasn't on Stern for 10 years.
I don't blame him.
He licked cupcakes or something like that.
Yeah, I think Lisa G complained about him or something.
Everything that sucks about Howard is everything that sucks about Howard now. Man, does he suck.
He turned into a Yenta.
He became everything he hated, man.
Yeah.
He became Don Imus.
Can I tell my Gilbert story that I told you about with Chaz Palminteri? So it was Chaz Palminteri was in the studio. It was like Jim and Sam show or something like that. And so then Gilbert Godfrey comes in, and Chaz Palminteri was all excited that Gilbert Godfrey was coming in the studio. He's like, "Yeah, I fucking love this guy," and everything. He's talking about this. And Opie and them guys are like, "Oh, you like Gilbert?" He's like, "Yeah, he's in Beverly Hills Cop 2. We love that movie." He said, "Me and my friends, we quote that movie. His line in that movie, we quote it all the time." It's like and then Gilbert tells him that they ad-libbed the line and everything. It's when Gilbert picks up the phone and he calls his wife bitch because she's got to pay for something. I forget exactly what it leads up to it, but Gilbert calls his wife bitch on the phone, and he said, so we quote that all the time and we're laughing. And then Gilbert says when the movie airs on regular TV that they do an edit because he says bitch, and then Chaz Palminteri says, what did they edit it to? And Gilbert said cunt. That's just so great, man.
He's just a hysterical guy.
Yeah. He was the guy that wanted to push the line, and for somebody that had such success with Cameo, the Aflac money he was making, he was not afraid to say what was on his mind, and he said it.
Yeah, that's true. And it seemed like Hollywood was almost working against him, because he was so rough around the edges and shit. But he still succeeded, and despite
Larry David wrote a pilot for him.
And he was one of those guys that when he showed up at those terrible roasts on Comedy Central, as soon as Gilbert came on, everybody was
he knew it was gold.
Okay. Now it's legit. Yeah. Now you're like, now I'm dead. I want to watch this. I watched after he died. I was watching all those
the
clips
Roseanne one.
The Roseanne roast, the Donald Trump roast, the
Norm one at Bob Saget.
Oh, Saget, Saget. So but there was the one where what's the deaf girl, Marley Matlin.
Marley Matlin, yeah.
She goes up to do it, and she's like, "I'm going to have someone come up and speak for me." And Gilbert comes up and speaks for her. And that might have been the Trump one. And he just it's obviously so his voice, man. And she's just she starts signing. And Gilbert just does his whole routine. And he looks at her and he's like, did I get that right? She's like, whatever. Oh, it's so good. Yeah.
R.I.P.
Yeah. He will be missed, man. Just like Norm will be missed and Bob Saget and
Louis.
Lowe and Louis. Yeah. Jeez, man.
Anderson, that is not C.K.
Rough couple.
Louis C.K., congrats on your Grammy.
Louis Anderson died?
Yeah.
Last year, I think he died. I think it was at the end of last year. Yeah.
But between him, Norm was October, and then Louis in December, Saget January, and
Gilbert now. Gilbert, that was a podcast. I was religiously listening to that every week. It was just George Carlin's dead. That's my Brian. That was me being Brian. He's got a signed book.
I was gonna say I got his book signed 2 years after he died. George
Carlin. Dear Andy. Funny story. Comedian Joe DeRosa met George Carlin, and he's like, "Oh, I'm a big fan of a comedian." He tells him, and George Carlin said a line to him. I forget what the line is, and Joe DeRosa got that tattooed on his arm.
Oh, wow.
And then he found out that was the line that George Carlin wrote in everybody's book that he signed or whatever. And anything that he signed, he would put that on there.
Keep being funny or something
he
like that.
He's like, yeah, you keep getting him and go after him, kid, or something like that. He thought it was something inspirational that George said just to him, and he had it tattooed on him, and then he's like, man, he had it covered up. Joe DeRosa, you're more than welcome to come on the podcast.
So, how long have you been recording?
Too long.
No, not too long, but
we're coming up on an hour. And we
Wow.
talked for like 4 minutes, maybe. Before.
We haven't talked for an hour
So
yet?
We haven't hit an hour yet. Now.
So I guess we want to do our ratings now, so that we can.
And I won't give you the other ratings because I know that you want to give your rating before I tell you what Rotten Tomatoes and stuff is, right? Yep. So why don't we have our guest give his rating? What we like to do is a score like a 0 to 100%. Obviously, 0 being the best. Just kidding. Seeing if you're paying attention. But yeah, go ahead and tell us if there's like any rewatchability or anything you want to just like.
Well, I already put that out there. I rewatched it twice before the show, and then probably 20 times. When I was a kid.
Did you buy it? You said you bought it, right?
Yeah. And so I give it like an 85 in the overall perspective. Compared to every movie out there, because it was monumental at the time in the 80s.
Yeah, and it's something part of your youth.
Yes, it's ingrained in it, you know. And I still think Rocky was the best one, of course, easily original, but that was more of a drama, and that was more critically acclaimed. This one was more of that entertainment.
This was the one that it was fan service, a lot of fan service in this one. You got the 2 big fights, you know what I mean?
And it launched careers, too. And the song.
Well, actually, 3 fights if you count Hot Lips, right?
Thunder Lips.
Hot Lips was MASH.
Yeah.
Speaking of MASH,
that's great if he fought.
That's being recorded in the other studio right now, the MASH podcast.
That'd be great if he fought Hot Lips. That would have been hilarious.
It's a completely different type of movie. Was that Andy Kaufman and Jerry Lawler?
They wrestled the women.
They wrestled the woman or whatever. Yeah. All right, Brian, why don't you give us... So we're going from somebody who watched it multiple times, has been a fan of it. This is your first watch ever, so let's hear your take.
So I thought I was going to hate it, because not that I hated Rocky 4, but since I'm not a big Sly Stallone, but it was a different Sly Stallone. So I kind of, I watched this whole thing.
Did Christine watch with you by any chance?
She did not, no. I don't think anyone did. But I'll give it a 65, just because it still had, Sylvester Stallone in it.
And a lot of cheese. A lot of 80s cheese. Yeah. I do have to admit that.
It had Frank Stallone in it, too.
2 Stallones for the price of 1. I'm going to give this movie an 80. I really enjoyed it. It really made me actually want to go back and just start watching all the Rocky movies again. And after I watched this one, because I was watching on HBO, after it ended, it said suggested movies, and it put 1, 2, and 4 up there.
Oh, they were available?
And I was like, do I start watching Rocky 1 right now? And it was already like 11 o'clock. And
I stayed up until
I was like 7 drinks in already. I was like, I know I'm going to fall asleep so I didn't start. But out of the first 4 Rocky movies, I would say this is probably my least favorite. But it's still an 80. It's still a great movie. I would definitely watch it again. And like I said, I want to go back and watch all the Rocky movies.
If this is your least favorite out of the 4 and it's an 80, that means it's a pretty good series. If the fourth one's pretty high.
Those
as well, yeah.
Like rewatchability, any day. You put a Rocky movie on, I'm going to watch it. If it's just on.
Rocky 3 came out. That kind of he was like the heartthrob at that time, because that's when he was really cut up. Yeah. Nobody saw him as cut up as he was before that. He was softer in First Blood and the other movies. And then Rambo, right? Not Rambo 2. But then Rambo came out around that time too. And that just really launched his career.
And that was still like pre-Schwarzenegger. So like he didn't have a competition at the beginning there. Like Terminator was like
Speaking of Schwarzenegger, just a couple weeks ago, we talked about that big Conan the Barbarian movie,
but like no one cared. But no one cared about Arnold at that point.
But remember in Twins, I love that scene in Twins when he's walking by the poster of Sylvester Stallone. I think it was one of the Rambo movies, and then he holds his own muscle and then smirks and laughs at Sylvester Stallone. He's
That's
small.
Good.
There were a couple of those things.
They're like good friends, right?
In Last Action Hero, which was that
was a good movie.
The meta movie.
Don't you like that movie?
I love it.
Doesn't like it.
Yeah.
And the
soundtrack is great too. An Alice in Chains song is
but there's a scene where they go into a video store because the kid wants to prove that Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jack Slater is actually Arnold Schwarzenegger, and they go into a Blockbuster to find Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, which of course don't exist.
Yeah.
But there's a cardboard cutout of Stallone as Terminator. Like he's on the motorcycle, like with the sunglasses on. So It's like I like how they always were kind
That's
of taking
interesting.
little jabs. At
I don't
each other
remember
and
that
stuff
movie
like
that well, so I can't.
Last Action Hero was a good one.
Yeah, it was good, and I don't remember it as well as he does.
Yeah,
I saw it many times. I remember.
I know. He's a big fan of it. He always talks about that one. Yeah.
I don't know why I was.
Me, I like basketball, but this movie, I'm going to give this movie a 75%. I also enjoyed this movie. I would say this might be my second favorite behind the first. Definitely a movie I've watched multiple times in the past. I've rewatched it now, so I could see myself watching it again. Maybe in a group setting would be more fun, I think, rather than by myself. But yeah.
I think the one thing that brings it down for me was I guess
fight scenes.
The last fight was not that exciting. Like it was over in.
It was more exciting when I was 12 years old.
Was it 3 rounds though? Like
yeah, it was 3 rounds.
Neither fight. The first one was 2. Then this was 3.
The first fight being 2 rounds, and like Rocky's face was just annihilated.
Oh, yeah.
Fights don't even get close. To
it's great how he's just like,
and they're all haymakers.
Yeah, his strategy was just let the guy
and they take turns,
beat the shit out of me.
Like
the strategy is just let him tire himself out by pummeling me.
And this is one thing.
As if getting hit in the face doesn't tire you out. It's just going to tire the guy.
And it might not knock you out.
One thing I wanted to mention too was, I mean, Mickey was dying, and when Rocky was there, like telling him, go to like sad, crying almost for him, I had the closed captioning on, and it got to a point where I just said mumbling.
I saw that too. It was just like,
but it said mumbling. I was like, that's so great.
Yeah, out of the first 4, like this is like you think about like the first 2 Apollo fights; those both went the distance. They both like.
Those fights seemed to go on forever when you were watching.
There were 15-round fights that don't even exist anymore. And then the part 4 with Dolph Lundgren, that was a long fight too. And so this one, I think the actual fight. In fact, I hit pause as soon as it happened. The first fight doesn't even happen until 37 minutes into the movie. So you're like halfway through the movie, or a third of the way through, and you haven't.
The only fights we got were the
yet.
ones like you see leading
just
up to
the
it.
Clips that aren't even real fights, but
count,
so you're a third of the way through before you even see a fight.
And then we see 2 quick fights, really.
Yeah,
if you think about it. We get 5 rounds total.
I think that's the detriment to the movie. I think if they had made that last fight a 15-rounder, it would have been more exciting. But I guess the believability of Rocky just taking.
I don't think Clubber Lang could throw punches like that for 15 rounds.
Well, I think
that was the point. He's never been the distance.
They said that he never went past 3 rounds or something like that.
And nobody. I mean, did you see those punches?
I mean, that was always the thing about Tyson too. Tyson finished fights in the first
round. And it's
round.
funny, like while I watched Rocky 3, it's like life imitates art in a way, because I think of Clubber Lang as like what was to come with Mike Tyson.
Sure.
Yeah,
because
I'm coming for you.
Tyson beat guys in 90 seconds and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
he was beating legends in seconds too, man. It's crazy.
But Michael Spinks had a plan. And as Tyson said, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face.
Yeah,
the plan.
I paid money. That was like my first pay-per-view I paid for, and I was like, I'm never buying it.
That was back, but that was back when they were like $39.
Yeah,
okay. You get a couple people in. Now they're like $70, $80 for like UFCs and everything, and it's like you got to get people together now.
But at least it lasts a long time.
You get a full card too for those UFC fights. At least,
it wasn't like 90 seconds. Yeah,
but that's the thing too. Yeah, I mean, you're all excited for it. You got a bunch of people around like, yeah, man. It's like, and the fight's in Vegas, so you're not watching it until like 1 in the morning. Here, it's like, oh man, like what the hell?
All right, you want to?
Why don't we tell our tags and stuff like that? Give our goodbyes. What are we talking about next week? We're talking about Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, I believe, right?
Oh, are we?
So another sequel.
Yeah, we have a special guest joining us from out of state for that one.
Another out-of-stater, but he'll be on video. We have his.
He'll be up there, yeah.
There he is.
And what's his stage name? Cakes? Cake Boy?
I think we just call him Anthony. I think he'd turn. Okay.
I call him Tony.
I think he'd turn it off, and we were calling him Cake Boy the entire time. He's like,
when Jason in the beginning years ago, when you would say Tony, I was like, who the fuck's he talking to?
And then I call him Battlestar Galactica.
Oh shit! Yeah, cut that
out. You can find us at Exciting and New on Twitter, Exciting and New on Instagram. We are Exciting and New on Facebook. Brian, what is it on TikTok?
Exciting and New.
Exciting. I'm Jazoo74 on Twitter, the Jazoo on Instagram. He's AE Gonzo 1 on Twitter, AE Gonzo on the gram, Papa Bad Kitty on both the gram and Twitter. And Brian, you want to throw out your Instagram? Nobody's going to follow you or anything.
Nobody's listening out there.
Threw his name out there.
Oops.
It's all good.
Yeah, well then just
Now you'll be
say,
sucked.
edit that out, please.
Cut.
I'm working. I work. I don't talk.